Today is the last day to register to vote in Virginia. Christopher Piper is the commissioner of the Department of Elections in Virginia. Piper says voter registration has risen from the last election.
Yes, we've seen a significant increase. We typically compare similar elections to the last midterm election in Virginia in 2014. During the month of September, we had about 16,000 people register to vote. In September 2018, we've had nearly 30,000.
I questioned Commissioner Piper about the rise of registered voters.
I believe there's just increased participation, awareness. We're seeing particularly higher absentee ballot applications and registrations among younger individuals. So we're just seeing, I think there's just more interest in the congressional elections this year than there were in 2014. And overall, the midterm elections. I just believe that there is a lot more civic engagement this year, which is always a plus.
The commissioner warns missing today's deadline will cost you your vote.
If they do not register by midnight tonight or submit their application for registration by through the post office and have it postmarked today, then they would not be able to apply to register to vote in this election. So if they're not already registered or planning to register today, then their opportunity to vote in the November 6th general election will not be afforded to them.
Piper explains residents have had plenty of time to register to vote.
Registering to vote is open all year except in the period right before an election. So before the general election, it's 21 days from the election. But through the rest of the year, it's available at any time. You can register online at vote.virginia.gov, or you can download an application from our website, or you can just register online. You can register when you go to do a qualifying transaction at the DMV. You can also go to your local voter registration office and request an application there.
One of the key issues is, in the event you have moved since registering to vote, you may want to make sure you are still eligible to cast a ballot.
If you have moved recently and did not get a chance to update your voter registration status, then there are opportunities for you to still vote at your old polling location. It just depends. There's varieties there, and I don't want to get into every single instance. But if any of your folks reading or listening to this have recently moved, then they should either contact us or contact their local voter registration office to determine where they should go on Election Day and if they're still eligible to vote.
Virginia law requires all voters to provide an acceptable form of identification, which is a photo ID.
If you do not have a photo ID, there's a couple of things you can do. First of all, prior to the election, you can go to your voter registration office or any voter registration office and request a free voter ID, photo ID, and that can be provided to you at the voter registration office. If you happen to show up to the polls and you do not have your identification or photo ID with you, you can vote on what's called a provisional ballot. They'll provide you a ballot that then is sealed in an envelope and held at the registrar's office until Friday of the election. So if the election's on Tuesday, they have till Friday at noon to come to the office and provide a copy or provide their photo ID. If they provide their photo ID by the deadline, their ballot will be counted.
More than 30 people showed up today at the Augusta County Registrar's Office to cast an absentee ballot. That's according to the General Registrar of Augusta County, Constance Evans. Evans says there are more than 48,700 voters in Augusta County. According to Evans, her office has administered 791 absentee applications for people who came to the office or by mail. Augusta County has 26 precincts. The top 5 largest precincts in the county are Fort Defiance, Ridgeview, Fishersville, Cremora, and Verona.
No precincts are allowed to be more than 5,000 people. And most in the state are around 2,000 to 2,500. They typically, anything more than 3,000, it can get a little overcrowded. The lines can get long. So most localities attempt to keep their precincts below or right around 3,000 or less.
Commissioner Piper says last year the state of Virginia made a decision to change voting machines to ensure accuracy and to allow more people to vote on Election Day.
In September of 2017, the State Board of Elections, which is the advisory body of the Department of Elections, they voted to decertify any electronic voting machines, and thus requiring all machines that are all ballots be cast on a paper voter verified. It does tend to speed up because you can have more people voting at a time if you're not using one of the electronic machines. So it does but the biggest reason for it is with a voter verified paper ballot, the election is more secure. Electronic ballots, there's no way for the voter to verify that they filled out and what was submitted was actually what they intended to submit. So we're confident in the machines that we use and the process that's in place.
Election Day is November 6. Voting polls across Virginia will be open at 6 a.m. until 7 p.m.
Typically, results are not counted until after the polls close at 7. Depending on the locality and depending on the participation numbers, we tend to have, we start getting numbers in within 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and typically we have all of the localities in around 10 p.m., but anything can happen on election night.
Elaine Rackley for Breaking Through News.